Welcome to the Bodhi Academy. I am Mohanta and today we will start 8th Standard Science first chapter, that is crop production and management. So why do we need food? As we already know, all living organisms require food which provides us with energy. Now, uh, the energy which is gained from the food, we use that energy to carry out various functions in our body, such as digestion, respiration, and excretion. Now, how do plants and animals get their food? As we know, plants can prepare their own food through photosynthesis, whereas animals cannot prepare their own food. Thus, they depend on plants or other animals for source of food. Now, how can we provide food to a large number of people in our country? Now, as we know, there is a large number of people in our country, and all of us require regular food. So how can we provide food to a large number of people? Now, in order to provide food to a large number of people, regular production and proper management and distribution of food is very important. So, in order to provide for a large population, regular production means the production of food or uh, growing of food or crops, vegetable or cereals is very important, as well as proper management and distribution. The production of crops or vegetables, fruits, etc. should be regular. That is, it should be continuously produced, as well as proper management and distribution is necessary. That means that the crops produced should be properly managed and distributed throughout the country to feed all the people. Now, see over here. In order to provide food for a large population, regular production and proper management and distribution is necessary. So now how this production or how this agriculture started. Now earlier people were nomads. They were nomadic people who used to wander around in groups and search for food and shelter. Now these people used to eat raw vegetables or raw fruits, and they used to hunt the animals for food. Now later these people started to cultivate the land and produce crops like rice or wheat. Thus agriculture was born. Now crop production and management. So what is crop? What is a crop? Now when plants of same kind are cultivated at one place on a large scale, it is called a crop. So what a crop is? So when plants of same kind are cultivated at a place, when plants of same kind are cultivated at a place on a large scale. So we have seen large fields in which only one type of plants are grown. So this is called as a crop. When plants of same kind are cultivated at a place on a large scale, it is called as crop. Now some examples of crop are wheat, rice, then any vegetables. Um, Example of crop of wheat means now we say that on a land this is a crop of wheat. It will mean that all the plants grown in that field will be of wheat only. So example, this field or this crop, when I say this crop is of wheat, that will mean that all the plants which are present on that field will be wheat plants. Now we already know there are different kinds of crops. That is, there are cereals, vegetables, fruits, etc. And now these crops can be essentially classified based on the season during which they are grown. Now, since India is a vast country, there are various climatic conditions which vary in different places or different states in the country. So, the climatic conditions like temperature, humidity, rainfall all vary from one region to another. And because of these, various different kinds of crops can be grown in India in the different climatic conditions. Now let us see the two types of crops which are normally cropping patterns which are normally practiced in India. So these are the first one is Kharif crops and the second one is Rabi crops. Now, the crops which are grown or sown in the rainy season are called as Kharif crops. These are the crops which normally require more water for their growth and thus they are sown in the rainy season. Now, the rainy season is in India is generally from June to September. So, the Kharif crops are generally sown from uh, in the start of June or July like that. So some examples of Kharif crops are paddy, paddy means rice, maize, corn, then soybean, groundnut and cotton. Okay, so these are the crops which are grown in the Kharif season. So paddy, maize, soybean, groundnut and cotton are the Kharif crops. These are the crops which will require more water for their initial growth. Then the second type of crops are the Rabi crops. Now the crops which are grown in the winter season are called as the winter crops or Rabi crops. The winter season is usually from October to March. So the crops which are grown during this time of the year are the Rabi crops. Some examples are wheat, gram, pea, mustard and linseed. Now these crops like wheat, they require cooler temperature or cooler weather for their initial growth and development. So these are grown or sown during the winter season and are called as Rabi crops. Besides these two crops, various pulses and vegetables are also grown during the summer season in our country. So, to start with agriculture, a farmer needs to carry out various activities or various practices, and these practices are referred to as agricultural practices. So what this essentially means is the farmer needs to prepare his land or field so that he can sow the seeds for the crop and essentially get a higher or better yield. Now let us see what are these agricultural practices. The first one is the preparation of soil. So the first one is preparation of soil. In this step, the farmer essentially loosens the soil or turns the soil in his field so that there is more air in the ground which will help the roots to breathe. And this step also helps the roots of the plants to penetrate deep into the soil. Then the second step is sowing, the planting of seeds of a crop in the soil. So the second step is sowing of the seeds. The third step or the third agricultural practice is adding manure and fertilizers to the crop. Now, this means providing the plants with essential nutrients which are required for their growth and development. The fourth agricultural practice which is carried out by a farmer is irrigation. Now, irrigation means the supply of water to the crop. Then protection from weeds. Since a lot of unwanted plants that are weeds grow in the field, these needs to be removed and the process of removing these unwanted plants is called weeding. So this is the fifth step of agricultural practices. Then comes harvesting. So once the crop is matured, the crop should be cut and stored properly. So the last step is storage, where the grains or the produce is stored safely from insects and pests. So let us see the first agricultural practice or the first step, that is preparation of soil. Now preparation of soil first step is the first step before growing a crop, and it is a very important task turn the to turn the soil and loosen it. Now why this is done? This is done because it helps the roots to penetrate deep into the soil. This turning or loosening of the soil will help the roots to penetrate deep into the soil. Then this also, as I have already said, this also allows the roots to breathe even when they are deep into the soil. Loosened soil also helps in the growth of earthworms and microbes. So, as we know, the earthworms are friends of a farmer. These earthworms, when they move through the soil, they also turn the soil and loosen it, as well as when they excrete their waste, they add humus to the soil. Okay, they will add humus to the soil, which will make the soil more fertile or rich with nutrients. Then, as we know that in a field there will be many organic matter such as uh, dried leaves or twigs, branches, all that will be present on the soil. So when this soil will be turned and loosened, these organic matters or the dead plants will get covered by the soil, and these will be decomposed by the soil organisms or decomposers. Now when these organic matter is decomposed, the nutrients will again be released back into the soil. Now this is also an advantage of turning or loosening the soil. So these nutrients which will be released back into the soil will be absorbed again by the plants or the crop plants. Then now the process of loosening or turning the soil is called as tilling or plowing. So this is very important. The process of loosening or turning the soil is called as tilling or plowing. Now this is done by using an tool called a plow. So the tool used for this process is called a plow. Now here in this picture you can see what a plow is. So now these plows were usually made from wood in the olden days, but nowadays they are also made from iron. So plows are made of wood or iron, and these are used for turning or loosening the soil. Now if the soil is very dry, it may need watering before it is plowed. So if the soil is very dry, then first it should be watered and then the plowing should be done. Then when the field is plowed, big clumps or clusters of soil may be present on the ground, which are called as crumbs. So these crumbs should be broken before the leveling is done. Now leveling the field is beneficial for sowing as well as irrigation. Now after plowing the field, the leveling of the field should be done so that it is better or it is helpful during the sowing or irrigation of the field. Now let us see the various agricultural implements or the tools which are used for agriculture. So before sowing the seeds, it is necessary to break soil clumps to get a better yield. As I have already said, before sowing, it is essential to break the soil clumps, bigger soil clumps, and to level the field. Now this is done using various tools. The main tools which are used for this purpose are plow, hoe, and cultivator. Let us see what is a plow. So plow. This is a tool or instrument which has been used since a long time. Since ancient times, it is used for plowing or tilling the soil. Now, this instrument or tool is also used for adding fertilizers to the crop, removing the weeds, and turning the soil. So as we can see here in this picture, this plow is made up of wood and it is drawn by a pair of bulls. So a pair of bulls and a human is or a man is required to use this instrument. Then this plow contains a strong triangular iron strip. So as we can see here, this plow will contain a strong triangular iron strip and it is called as the plowshare. So this part of the plow is called plowshare and it is the part which will turn and loosen the soil. Then the main part of the plow is a long log of wood which is called as plow shaft. Now as we can see over here, this is the long log of wood known as the plow shaft, which is a very important part of the plow. Now there is a handle at one end of the shaft. So at one end of this plow shaft there is a handle. As we can see here, this is the handle where the farmer will hold with which the farmer will hold the plow, and the other end, as we can see here in this picture, the other end of the plow is connected to a beam of wood. So this beam of wood which is placed on the neck of the bulls. Then the indigenous wooden plow is now increasingly being replaced by a iron plow, as I have already said. Then the second implement that is used in agriculture is called a hoe. It is a simple tool which is used for removing weeds and loosening the soil. We can see here in this picture, this is a hoe. Now it is used for removing the weeds and loosening the soil. As we can see here, it is used for removing the weeds and loosening the soil. Now this also has a long rod of wood or iron. So we can see here, this hoe will also have a long rod of wood or iron and it will have a strong bent plate. So this is the bent plate which will remove the weeds and also loosen the soil. So this bent plate works as a blade and it is similar to the plow. So this one end of this rod is also has a beam which will be attached to the back of the animals, which will pull the hook. Then the next implement which is used in farming is the cultivator. So nowadays ploughing is done usually by these cultivators. Here we can see these are the cultivators which are used. These are made up of iron and they are driven by the tractor. So this method is more efficient and it is faster and it also saves labor and time. So you just have to attach this cultivator, this implement to the tractor and drive it along around the field. So the second step or the second agricultural practice is sowing. Now sowing is an important part of crop production. Sowing, it is the process where the seeds are added to the field. Now before sowing, the selection of seeds is done. So good quality seeds should be selected to get a higher yield of the crop. Now higher yield means to get more produce of the crop. So farmers prefer the good quality seeds which are more healthy and which will give a higher yield. Now these seeds can be selected by soaking the seeds in water. When we soak the seeds on water, the damaged or the hollow seeds will float on water and the healthy seeds will be at the bottom of the container. So this is a good method for separating good and healthy seeds from the damaged ones. Now we will see the tools which are used for sowing of seeds. Now the traditional tools which was used for sowing seeds is like a funnel. Okay, it is shaped like a funnel as we can see in this picture. So this is the tool which is used for sowing the seeds and it is shaped like a funnel. So the seeds were filled in this funnel as we can see here in this picture. The farmer is putting seeds in this funnel. So the funnel was filled with seeds and the seeds were then passed down through this pipe, 2 or 3 pipes which have sharp ends. So these pipes used to have sharp ends and this end pierce into the soil and place the seeds there. So this is how traditionally the seeds were sown or they were also sown manually. That is, the farmer used to spread the seeds manually throughout the field. Then another instrument that is used nowadays is the seed drill. Now here also the seed drill which is used is driven by tractor and it is a very efficient and faster method. It also saves labor and time. So nowadays seed drill is used for sowing with the help of tractors and this sows the seeds at uniformly at equal distance and depth. So this seed drill, which is driven with the help of tractor, uniformly sows the seeds at equal distance and appropriate depth, which is required for the crop. It also ensures that the seeds get covered by the soil after sowing. So this seed drill also ensures that the seeds are covered with soil. So this helps against the protection. This provides protection against the birds. Now, when the seeds were sown by the traditional method, some of the seeds were left uncovered, and these seeds were then attacked or they were fed upon by the birds. So, the seed drill automatically covers these seeds after sowing which protects the seeds from being eaten by the plants. Hence, there is no reduction in the yield or produce of the crop. As we have read over here, the seeds are sown at equidistance and depth. Now, this appropriate distance between the seeds or the plant is necessary to prevent overcrowding. Overcrowding. What it means is that if we see here in this field, if there are a lot of plants which are grown very close to each other, it will cause overcrowding of the plants. Now, all these plants will have to compete with each other to get sunlight, water, and nutrients. And all these plants will not get sufficient nutrients, sunlight, water, etc. So the growth of these plants will be hampered, or they will become weak over time. Whereas if we plant the crop at uniform distance, these plants will be healthier as they will get appropriate or sufficient sunlight, nutrients, and water from the soil. So, when such situations arise or when overcrowding of plants is done, we should remove some of the plants so that the plants can get sufficient sunlight, nutrients, and water. So, this is all that we will cover in this video. In the next video, we will see adding of manure and fertilizers to the plants and also irrigation of plants. So, thank you for watching my video. Please like, share and subscribe to Bodhi Academy.